Buddy, thank you so much for joining us on Sports and Money. I'm your host, Ben Parker. Most of you know by now, Alec Ogletree announced with the LA Rams that he has signed a 4-year, $42 million contract extension during the past week. With it, we're going to have 4 questions to cover today. Number 1, why Alec Ogletree and why now? Number 2, why not Aaron Donald? Number 3, what does this mean for Aaron Donald going forward? And the final question we'll cover after that is where are the Rams getting all this money from, and why can't other teams seem to be able to do the same thing? Question number 1, why Alec Ogletree and why now? And the simple answer to that is that Alec Ogletree would be a free agent during the next offseason. He is still in his rookie contract. He is in the 5th-year option, 5th-year team option of that contract, and the LA Rams really did not want him to hit the open market where he could test his true value. They wanted to lock him up, keep him in LA. He's only 26 years old. He's still in the prime of his career, probably still getting better, has not probably yet reached his peak, even though his PFF scores this season have not been as great as he transitions from one defense to another. He is still an incredible athlete. Hard to find that kind of athleticism at the inside linebacker spot. He has a tremendous amount of leadership in the locker room, certainly a great fit for the defense, great fit for LA. So those are the reasons why they wanted to get him locked up. Now, the inevitable comparisons are, why not Aaron Donald? They had a well-known negotiations during the offseason with Aaron Donald. They were never able to come to a deal, really never even came close. That led to a very publicized holdout by Aaron Donald in which he missed the first game of the season. So if you're going to give it to Alec Ogletree, why not give it to the best defensive player in the game, arguably? And the very simple answer to that is that Aaron Donald is not yet in the 5th year of his contract. He is still in his rookie deal, but he's only in the 4th season. And certainly the Rams are hoping that they can get Aaron Donald to play for that 5th year option. Now we'll see. That will happen in the offseason coming up. They'll certainly have a lot more negotiations going on between the Rams and Aaron Donald and his camp. And I'm sure Aaron Donald and his camp do not want to play out for that 5th year option, but the Rams are. So this is a big game that all the teams play with all their first-round draft picks. If a guy is worth having for that 5th season, they very often try to get him to play for that 5th season. If a player has seemingly risen above the value of that contract, he's going to try to get a contract extension signed before they play that 5th year option. Aaron Donald is going to be making a whole lot of money. He's the best defensive player in the game. He might even end up making the biggest amount of defensive money in the game, but we'll find out that in the next off season. We'll see what kind of battle plays out there. But that's the reason why Alec Ogletree got the contract extension, is because he is at the end of his rookie contract and Aaron Donald is not, because the Rams have 3 major free agents on defense during this next offseason. They didn't want to be negotiated with all 3 of them in the offseason. They went ahead and got one of them knocked out right now in the middle of this season. Aaron Donald is not one of those 3. Technically, they do have him under rights if they want to pick up that 5th year option, and I'm sure they will. They technically have him under rights for another season, so they want to go ahead and try to lock up some of these other guys, make decisions on these other guys. Then they can try to tackle what will be a behemoth contract for Aaron Donald, if indeed they can come to terms with Aaron Donald at all, and that yet remains to be seen. So question number 3 is, what does this mean for Aaron Donald going forward? If they've given all this money to Alec Ogletree, $42 million, $10 million cap number over each of the next 4 years on average, are they going to be able to re-sign Aaron Donald? And the answer is yes. They're going to have enough money to be able to do that if they decide to go that route. They may decide that they don't want to pick up that big a contract for Aaron Donald. Now, there's no doubt they want Aaron Donald on the team. They want Aaron Donald to be part of the franchise, but he is going to demand an incredibly large contract. It will be comparable, in fact, to what some quarterbacks make on the open market, to what some quarterbacks even make for their own team. So Aaron Donald going forward, the situation really hasn't changed for Aaron Donald. This Alec Ogletree contract, even though on the surface it may seem like the Rams have less money now to offer Aaron Donald, in fact, it really changes nothing on the Aaron Donald scene other than the fact that Ogletree has a contract. Aaron Donald does not have a large contract extension yet. So moving forward, nothing has really changed on the Aaron Donald scene. The Rams can still negotiate with him and give him every penny of what he might want should they choose to do so. Question number 4, though, is where are the Rams getting all this money? How come they are possibly able to sign their defensive stars, whereas other teams are forced with decisions to either let guys go and not be able to sign everybody that they want to sign. The very simple reason for that is that the Rams are not having to pay a large contract at the quarterback spot. Most teams in the NFL, especially most of the successful teams in the NFL, have an incredibly large cap number at the quarterback spot, anywhere from $15 million at the low end of a decent quarterback pay scale to as high as $24, $25 million a year for that quarterback spot. The Rams are not having to pay that right now. Their starting quarterback, their quarterback of the future, Jared Goff, is only in the second year of his rookie contract, and he is on a much, much lower pay scale, as are all the rookie contracts. And so the Rams literally are saving millions and millions of dollars at that quarterback spot, whereas people like the Seattle Seahawks, the Carolina Panthers, even the New England Patriots, who are getting a great deal off of Tom Brady every season, they are paying millions more. They're simply not able to pay the stars on the offensive line or on the defense the way they would like to. They have to make decisions between players. The Rams are not in that kind of a spot yet, and they won't be for another 3 or 4 seasons. If they pick up the 5th-year option on Jared Goff in a couple of seasons, he could have another 3 years after this season in which they don't have to pay him top money. So that really creates a 3-year window for the LA Rams to try to win. And to do that, they are building up their defense and continuing to sign players who are already on the team that they know that have already been successful with them, been a successful part of their franchise already, offering those young guys that kind of money. Now, it is the same situation that the Seattle Seahawks were in during the year that they won the Super Bowl and the 2 seasons previous to that Super Bowl winning season. Now, I'm not going to make any comparisons between the amount of talent on that Seahawks roster and the amount of talent on this Rams roster. That Seattle Seahawks roster was one of the most talented in the NFL over the past 5 seasons. I don't think the Rams have that kind of talent yet, but the situation is the same. The Seattle Seahawks, during their 2 Super Bowl years of going to the Super Bowl and the 2 seasons previous to that, were not having to pay Russell Wilson a large amount of money. Due to that, they were able to spread that money all over the defense and on the offensive line. Immediately, as soon as they gave Russell Wilson that large contract, and really he deserved that, and they just couldn't let Russell Wilson go. That would have been a terrible mistake to do. They had to sign him, they had to get him in, and they had to do so at a very large cap number. But immediately, as soon as that started happening, they had millions and millions of dollars less to offer defensive stars and people along the offensive line. That's why you had to see them make all kinds of decisions on the offensive line and on the defense. They had to watch some pretty good players leave. They were able to keep some of the players, but not all of them. The Rams are in the same situation right now. They have that 3-year window, 3.5 years really, where Jared Goff is on that rookie contract. If Jared Goff pans out and turns out to be a tremendous success over the next 3 seasons, you could see the Rams not only compete for the division and the conference, but for Super Bowl titles. There's an even outside shot that they could do it this year. If he doesn't pan out, if it turns out not to be successful, then they wouldn't have paid him the money in the first place, and they still would have done right by investing the money in these defensive stars to try to keep them competitive. So those are the reasons why that you're seeing Alec Ogletree get the money here in the middle of the season. You haven't seen Aaron Donald get it yet, and yet there's still a tremendous amount of hope that the Rams can sign not only these 2 players, but a couple of other guys in the secondary, Joyner and Johnson, in the coming months. So you'll see that. We'll see how that plays out for the Rams over the next few months. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Sports and Money, and I am Ben Parker.